We're going to talk about today, by the way, can you hear me in the back? Yes? Okay. We're going to talk about how to live a digital nomad life. And basically it's going to be about freelancing and about startups and traveling. So those are the three topics we're going to try to cover today. My name is Eli David. Email, that's my email at eli@becomenomad.com. You can talk to me if you have any questions, or you're going to go backpacking and buy your plane ticket to Peru and you have last minute questions, let me know. What I'm going to talk about today, a lot of it is in my blog. So the blog is becomenomad.com, and that's like a major extension to everything we're going to talk about today. So if you feel like getting a little bit more info, let me know. You can stop me whenever you want to, if you have a question or something. And before we start, I would just like to know, so I know more or less the relevance of what we're doing here, how many of you have a daily job now? Okay, a daily job. Going over every day to your office and yeah, okay, so how many of you are freelancing on your own account? Okay, that's cool. And how many have your own business? Okay, cool. So we have a nice mix here. So what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to do a quick introduction about myself, what exactly is my story, what happened to me. And I know most of you are not gonna be nomads. I'm going to explain exactly what I'm doing, and that's okay that you're not going to do it. I think the major lesson from what I'm trying to do is the element of change, which means basically that there is this regular life that we're all living in all over the world. Some of us are poorer, some of us are richer, but we all live this regular life, and sometimes it's good to change or do something new. So I'm just trying to, let's say, open you up to the option of actually changing, thinking about this change, about am I happy now, and if not, can I do like a huge change and go to somewhere totally different. So if there is something to take away from this lecture, it's probably that. We're going to continue to nomadic lifestyle tips. What exactly do I do, how do I do it while traveling. We're going to talk about how to sustain yourself on the move by freelancing. And if you're going to travel, the big issue over here is to make money while traveling. Because I've been doing this for 4 years. So needless to say, you can't travel on savings for 4 years. You're going to have to actually sustain yourself while traveling. So we're going to talk also about this, and we're also going to touch a little bit about how to create your own business or startup. Let's start with an introduction. So currently what do I do in the last 4 years now? I go to a place and I stay for about 3 months or 2 months or 1 month, and I go to another place that is new, where I've never been before. So that's like the game I've been playing in the last 4 years. So it has to be a new place. And what I do, basically, it's not that exciting. It's not that I'm going to Sofia and then I'm going to do skiing in Sofia or something like that. The thing is that my goal is to be a local wherever I go. So it's less traveling for me and more being a local wherever I go. In a way, when I'm in Varna, my goal is to try to be like you, the most I can, which is really not easy, but having your lifestyle, knowing the city a little bit, working during the day, that's what I'm trying to do, nothing too exciting. Let's talk about a little bit about the where and when, and this will show you that I'm not really a graphic designer, so I apologize in advance for what you're gonna see now. Or it's good, it's pretty good, huh? It took me about 1 hour to figure out how to change the colors. So basically, this mess is where I've been in the last 4 years.
Can you zoom it in?
I can try. It's only going to make it more ugly if I zoom it in, but yeah. Okay. So I started in India for 3 months, and by the way, India is a great place to have a change. It's totally... Someone has been in India? No one has been.
We don't dare.
Okay. So if you want to have a spiritual lifestyle change, India is a good place to receive a big shock and rethink about your life. So it's really recommended. So I started in India, and then I've been 1 year all over South America. And I started going a little bit to Europe, and then the Balkans, and this year I've been in Berlin. So all those dots that you see are places where I've been for about 3 months. Places where I live. For me, it's not places where I traveled, it's places where I actually live. So that's basically this small demo. And something about my life before the experiment, before this nomadic lifestyle. So I pretty much had a kind of a boring life. I had the most boring profession out there. Can you guess?
Accountant.
Yes. Exactly. Wow, that was fast. Had the most boring profession, and also had a serious relationship. What's written over here is that something missing, but not enough too. And I'm pretty sure some of you are exactly in this point. That it's kind of not so good, but I'm not going to make a radical change now to my life just because I'm not that happy. And what happened to me is that life changed it for me. So actually in the same period of 2 months, I lost my job, I got fired. And I got fired twice. This is on video, because I tell people that I decided to quit. So I got fired twice, and my girlfriend left me. So this was in a period of really 2 months. And basically, when stuff like that happened, you know, you receive a punch. Your first instinct is to say, okay, how do I get a new job and get a new girlfriend, right, or boyfriend or whatever. And I decided that I'm gonna use this opportunity to actually change my life, because there is something nice about losing everything you have. Do you know what it is?
Freedom.
Yeah, exactly. So when you lose all your attachments, you're free. You can do whatever you want, or you're flexible to do whatever you want. So that's what I did, and then I started this thing about this nomadic lifestyle, because I always had it in my head that I'm more happy when I'm traveling. So I decided to go for it, because life gave me the option to do it easily. I didn't have to quit on a job, didn't have to leave my girlfriend. It was all prepared. I'll talk a little bit about the advantages of being a nomad. The first one, that it's fun and it wakes you up. You know the feeling of going to a new place where you haven't been, yeah? So Varna might be a little bit boring for you because you stay a long time here, but imagine going to Varna for the first time, and then going to Bucharest for the first time, then going to Bosnia. It's kind of a nice energy of, I heard it has to do with our ancestor, because we were, before our ancestors were very much, they were in their caves and there were dinosaurs and crazy stuff happening, so every change made you really have an adrenaline rush. And now we don't have this adrenaline rush anymore, because we're in the same place all the time, mostly. So this is a way of creating this adrenaline rush constantly. One more nice advantage is that you have new friends and contacts. You go to a new place and you get a lot more new friends. Your circle keeps on changing. So I was not that social before, and since I started traveling, I now have friends all over the world, which is kind of cool. It has a downside to it that you're gonna leave everyone after a while, but that's another thing. One more advantage is knowledge about the world. Before I traveled, I didn't know anything about the Balkans, I didn't know anything about Bulgaria or Paraguay or whatever, and now I'm like, the government resigned, and so I'm really, the banks are going to collapse and take the money. So those are things that I would never imagine knowing before, and you have a lot more information about the world, which is pretty cool. One more advantage for me is the accepting element, because before, it's kind of psychological and it's personal for me. When bad things happen to me, unexpected things, I would freak out. It's like, whoa, I lost this or this happened. And now, when you travel so much and everything keeps on changing, you accept reality a lot more easily. You're a lot less frustrated, let's say. So this is another advantage that, for me personally, it's been really good. One more thing is hacking life with cost. Choose choose your clients in rich countries and work from low-cost countries, which is basically something that I do recently. Like, since I started in India and I got upgraded slowly, but the thing is that you have this thing about someone who is living in Norway cannot offer the services you offer in the same price. It's simply impossible. So you have an advantage on people who live in rich countries, in a way, which is something that I use as well to my benefit when I travel. And one more thing is that you have a story to tell, which is important because it's nice. People like stories and it also helps your business. You can also promote your agenda with your stories. So if I was here 4 years ago, I could give you a lecture about accounting principles. And that's pretty much the biggest story I could come up with. And now I can give you a story about the nomadic lifestyle, which is kind of nice to have a story. But before you all pack your bags and go now to Expedia and book your flight ticket, I want to talk to you about what are the disadvantages of nomadic lifestyle. The first thing is that there is no home. You know, you keep on changing. For example, now I'm living in a tent in the last week. Close to Galata?
No.
Yeah. Okay, so everything keeps on changing. You live in a tent, and then you live in an Airbnb apartment, and then you live in a hostel, and then, you know, it's like constant, where is your home? And for me, there is no problem, because I don't really need a home. But some people, they need their place, you know, their private place where they can say, okay, this is my safe place where I can always come back. Establishing routines can be really tiring. You're in a new place, and then you have to start finding places to go to and things to do, and you don't know anything about the place. We need routines. For example, it's not like I'm going to a place and then I'm saying, wow, now I have all day to explore. You know, if you do that, you will go a little bit insane. You need to structure your day. Everyone needs to structure their day. And it's kind of hard to structure your day when you're traveling. The third disadvantage is what everyone is talking about, the loneliness and separations. Wherever you go, you say goodbye to the people you met when you go to the next place, and you're always going to have lonely moments. It's unavoidable. It doesn't matter how social you are, you get to a new place, you don't know anyone. And you might not be lucky to meet people, because meeting people has a lot with luck and timing. You might not be that lucky and you might stay alone. I have to say that for me it's not an issue. I think it's something psychological in me that does not really have a problem of being alone, but you're going to be the weird guy sitting in the restaurant with a laptop, and that's okay. But then again, some people I know really feel depressed and need... One of the questions I get is what do you do when you feel depressed and you need to talk to someone, you know? And I'm like, I never need to talk to anyone, so, but people have that, I acknowledge that, and yes, it's more fun to be with people, so another disadvantage. One more thing is the surprises. They keep on being surprises and no stability. Crazy up moments of swimming in the Black Sea and you know, doing crazy things that you will never do every day, like something new, but then you have the down moments. For example, in India, a monkey beat me up. In Bulgaria, I got detained in the border because they were sure my passport was fake, and they kept me in a small room for 10 hours and they deported me. So, and I'm relaxed traveler, but if you travel for a long time, those things will happen all the time. So there's a lot of up and downs. Lack of information makes you lose money and time. You know, you're in a new place. For example, I got to Sofia, and in the middle of the night from a plane, and my hostel was in Ivan Vazov Street in Sofia, and I was looking for the street and I couldn't find it, and I was like, Google Maps showed me that I'm there, and then I keep on walking and walking, and I see the street sign. It was late, and my eyesight is not that good, and I'm like, no, it's not Ivan Vazov. And then in the end, I figured out it's Cyrillics, and it was Ivan Vazov, and I was walking for 1 hour just when I was on the same street where I was supposed to be. So those things always happen. You can't really avoid them when you travel. There is a dilemma of should you travel or should you work? You know, you're in a new place, you want to see what's going on, you go swimming in the Black Sea, but you have to work on the same time, so it's kind of problematic. And there's also an ego blow, because in the end, people are going to wonder about you. You know, your family, your friends. Imagine your friends, that you're going and you say, in the beginning you can cover it up and say, I'm going on a trip, on a long trip. And it keeps on going for 4 years. Then what's written over here, you're officially weird. So people are saying, what's going on with Eli? Really, what's going on? So it's kind of an ego blow. And yeah, now that I gave a small introduction about what is the nomadic lifestyle, we're going to move to ways of making money traveling. By the way, some of you have a plan to have a nomadic lifestyle, to actually not like long-term traveling. Someone wants to do it. Can you raise your? Okay, that's not other people. Let's go. So the issue is how to make money while traveling. It's not easy. And I'm going to tell you about the people I met on the way that are actually doing it. What do they do? So you have the nice model of half-half nomads. Those are people who work for half a year and then they travel for the second half of the year. Usually they have seasonal jobs, like working in ski resorts, so only where there is ski, or working in Black Sea in the summer when the people are there. The good thing, by the way, in the half-half is that your taxes are a lot more decreased because taxes are calculated annually. So if you work half a year, your taxes are calculated all over the year, and then those people usually don't pay any tax, which is cool. They can make money and not pay tax. Wow, this is recorded. Okay, so short breaks from home, from work. Those are the people who have a really cool job, and they can. I have a friend in the States, and she has a really high-paid job, and she goes traveling the weekend from the States to Bosnia. Every month she goes to one weekend to a crazy place. This is something that is interesting. I wouldn't do it because she's always pressured on time a little bit. And also it's kind of expensive, but I guess the people that can afford it, it's great for them. One more way is the corporate nomad. Corporate nomad is someone that got a job, let's say, in IBM. And usually now to Peru now, and you have to get a job in Peru. It's kind of challenging, but it's total immersion because you really need to be immersed into the local society. So this is something I've always been afraid of doing. I like to have to know that I have clients when I get to a place, but it's also kind of illegal because basically when you travel as a nomad, you travel on a tourist visa. So working is a little bit problematic. And two models of digital nomads, I've been doing both of them. Online freelancing, we're going to talk about this today, and online business, probably going to talk a little bit about this today. Freelancing, so what you see here is my profile from a long time ago, actually. I need to update it from Elance. Some of you are working on those platforms, Odesk, Elance, Guru, 1, 2, right? Okay. My story basically is that I knew that I want to do this nomadic lifestyle. I had no idea how I'm going to make money. And what did I do? I read an article on The Economist and ran that those sites exist. I got a subscription on Elance and on Odesk. Started in India. In India, as you know, India is super, super cheap. So I started working for $2 an hour in India. Had really tough bosses, but this was a nice start for me. Basically you build your profile, and I got to a situation that I can make 30 in an hour, which is really cool. It takes a long time, but those sites are pretty cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this option. Why should you even think about freelancing? Okay, so freelancing is good for the following reasons. First of all, get to the market fast. if you want to have a business right now, it has a lot of costs. You have to, even if it's an online business, you have to start your own web page, design it, pivot it, because it might be possible that people will not be interested in what you offer. Do Google ads and Facebook ads. So we're talking about a lot of money, maybe hire some people. The thing about freelancing is that you can connect to people who are looking for jobs now. They need to hire right now, whatever you do, web design or whatever. So this is a good way of connecting to the market fast. I also see it as a personal challenge in what can you do. Because you know, I had this, I thought very highly of myself when I was an accountant until I got fired. But the thing is that when you're out and you're saying to yourself, okay, what can I do to actually make money? Now, I need to make money right now, I need someone to pay me right now. And now you don't have the shelter of the company behind you and they tell you, yeah, do this thing and file those reports and we'll pay you a monthly paycheck. It's actually good to train yourself and trying to figure out what you do well enough that clients will pay you directly for it. So it's a nice experiment that I recommend just for understanding a little bit what can you do. And also to increase your self-confidence, that you don't need the shelter of those big companies. You know, it's not like they're a must and without them we're all going to starve. You can do your own thing. And I think the third advantage is something that I took advantage of, is gets you the oxygen to work on your projects or travel. So I would never travel without those, without freelancing, because I didn't have the money. So that gave, click on the job and you bid for it. You say, hello sir, or if you're Indian, you're gonna say, greetings sir. And you're telling them exactly why do you think you're going to be the best. Why are you the best person for the job? And you're competing with about 20 other people over there, but if you have a good case while you bid, you have good chance of getting it. That's why you need a lot of patience, because you have to bid for several projects.
Do you have any tips about bidding the job?
Yeah, try to customize it. Try to connect to what the client needs and say, okay, I understand what you need and I can provide you the quality because X, for example. I would also go on the serious clients. Check in advance that the client spent money already in the system. Some of the clients, you have those, what we talked about hiring, how important it is. There are people who are doing this as an exercise. They say, I'm going to hire, and you see that they have 0 out of 30 bids. They never hired a person, but they bid it 30 times. So those platforms allow you to see how much money they spent over there. And you might also want to avoid crazy clients. How do you know if the client is a little bit problematic? When you go inside their profile, you can see the reviews. It's a review-based system. So if you see that this client keeps on giving 1 star and saying this freelancer is a disaster, stay away. You're going to have a crazy boss. You don't want a crazy boss. You're already with yourself, so you don't want to make it worse. Okay, so this was the freelancing. Any other questions about freelancing? We can also cover them later. Online business. This one is a lot more challenging. I have to say I love this one a lot more. I did freelancing and I'm still doing a little bit of freelancing because businesses take a long time to scale. It takes a long time. What I did with lingolearn.com, it's an online school that teaches languages. We're thinking about teaching Bulgarian. Although everyone tells me nobody wants to learn Bulgarian, I think I'm gonna start a Bulgarian campus hopefully. So over there we teach about 15 languages. Most of our clients are actually from Israel. Something that I learned when I opened this business. I thought I'm gonna control the world. Everyone is gonna, and then you see that no, it's like fight for your small pond. Be the king of your small pond, and is the best. Find the pond. So. This one, just a quick recap. It exists for 4 years and now it's a little bit profitable, which is great. I had really tough time with this business, and it happens in business. If you're going to start a serious business, there are months that you lose a lot of money. Like not talking about not being able to take out your paycheck, but actually losing money. But in the end, it's really fun because you know, the fun moment for me is when I see every day we do 30 live sessions on average. So I see the list of 30 people who are studying in LingoLearn every day. And it's kind of cool that you say to yourself, ah, wow, I created it. There are now hundreds of people and 30 people every day that use the platform to connect live with the teacher. So this gives you a little bit of a sense of, hey, I built something, which is nice. Needless to say, you're not going to make money from day one, and unlike freelancing. That's the nice thing about freelancing. Freelancing, you make money and then you stop making money. A business, you're probably going to lose money, but you might make money when you're out of it, by selling it or by putting some kind of a process that works on the long term, that you can actually disconnect from the business and still get money from the business. So that's Lingoland. That's my latest business. So actually, this is Roderick, he's my co-founder. And the funny thing about Roderick is that Roderick was my boss on a business plan project. So I was traveling in Paraguay and Roderick hired me to prepare his business plan. And we got along really good in the preparation of the business plan. I told him, Roderick, when I'm going to start my new business, I want you to be a co-founder. Both of us are going to start together. This is one more of the advantages of freelancing. It's not always employee-employer. Sometimes you get along with people and you have more opportunities to cooperate later. So Startup Link, what we're trying to do, we're trying to build a global map. The business is called startuplink.com, a global map that maps all the co-working places, accelerators and startups in the world. We're launching in about 2 weeks, and actually, if you can give me feedback on the site, if you are into the startup ecosystem, I would love to hear, because currently that's what we're trying to do, to get a little bit feedback, to understand if we're in the right direction. This business is technological. Why is it different from Lingolearn? Lingolearn, what we did, we bought a Skype account, which is a little bit more advanced, called WebEx, and we started teaching from day one. So in Lingolearn, we had revenue from the first month, okay? And this is something that I recommend to all of you that want to start a business, but don't have a lot of money. That's what I did with Lingolearn. In the mindset of, hey, this business is going to generate money from month one. I'm not waiting. This business is a little bit more different because it's technological, putting entities on the map and whatever. So for this we got a minor investment. And I'm saying that this is a different model that takes a lot more time to get money. So a lot of people are sometimes confused when they start a business. Try to figure out if you're starting your Lingolearn or your Startup Link. Lingolearn is money from the first month and I'm going to sustain myself based on the revenue. Or you're starting a technological project that will require investment and a lot of money, and you're probably going to have to raise money from other people. So if you don't have that much money, open a Lingolearn in the beginning, and then do the Startup Link, whatever your Startup Link is going to be. Some lessons from Nomad entrepreneurship. It's hard to be on the road, but especially when you have businesses, businesses are like a baby in a way. I don't have kids, but I guess that I wanted to say that if you don't feed them, they die. So basically, the thing is that you can't leave your baby alone. Okay, so a business is a problem for someone who is into a nomadic lifestyle because you have a lot of clients waiting for you and stuff happens all the time. So this is a problem for me, but something that I like on the same time. If you start a business, please know that it's not going to be it's an attachment. What we talked about in the beginning, the attachments, this is a major attachment. So some lessons from Nomad entrepreneurship. In some cases, investors are not a must. And if some of you are thinking about building your business soon, opening some kind of business, so it's not a must to have this we're taught now that you must get money from investors. So we all go to Lunch Hub and to 11 and please help us. What happens in a lot of the cases is that they will give you money, accelerators in general, but it's not doing you any well because your idea shouldn't have existed on the first stage because no private investor and no client would actually pay for it. So those guys are giving you money, and then you're left 2 years with an idea that nobody really needs and you're only going to discover it 2 years from now. So what I'm saying is that if you can build something that is in Lingolearn style or get money from private sources, it's better because it's going to validate the idea a little bit better. And if you can make money from your clients are your best investors. If there is a client that is willing to pay for something that you created, that's the best validation that this is worthwhile. We talked about the second one, try selling from day one. Really important, if you can, if you have a lingo learn type business. Tell clients, yes, I can do it. This is important, because when you start a business, you have to build your capabilities. And when you have an opportunity, someone is telling you, you know what, I have, we once received a huge contract from a company. Just when we started LingoLearn, I don't know why they picked us. They probably didn't see the competition. And they asked us, did you ever do this? And we need this for 30 employees with this specific curriculum and whatever. And we said yes. Everything, yes, 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 yes. And we gave them amazing service and it was a great course. The thing is that you have to say yes, if you think you can do it. So it's something that when you have a business, there is so much uncertainty, be sure that you can do it. And emotional roller coaster, you know, business is up and down, and you have to be aware of it. Just like nomadic lifestyle in a way. It's never been easier and cheaper to start. So if you think about starting a business, now is a really good time, because Dropbox and Skype and all those guys, you had to pay 5 years ago a lot of money for all those services. Now you can rack up a business in a matter of like you need about $100 to actually start a business. We started LingoLearn with very low amount of investment. And the sixth one is try making something good. Because it will make you feel better when you lose money, and you're gonna lose money. So for example, LingoLearn, my point of connection to LingoLearn is that we're teaching Arabic to Israelis and we're teaching Hebrew to Arabs. So it's kind of nice, you know, now we had this small war, our occasional annual war. And it's kind of nice when this war happens to see students that are learning. Our Arab teachers are teaching Israeli students, and the Israeli students teaching Israeli teachers teaching Israeli students. It's kind of nice. You tell yourself, oh, this is something pretty cool. I created something that makes some kind of a nice impact. And when you lose money, you need this motivation, because it's all you got. So if you build a business, there are so many opportunities out there. Try to find a business that you can actually say, I'm kind of proud of that, of what I'm doing. So the last sentence over here is the best way to become nomad without leaving home is starting a business. By the way, I wanted to say something about Startup Link. I hired people through Elance. I became from someone who works in Elance and Odes to someone who hires in Elance and Odes. Nice thing about those sites, all those freelancing sites, is that they allow you to hire and build your dreams relatively cheap. We don't, you know, you guys are here in Bulgaria and the IT here is so great. People who work in IT in Bulgaria are allowing people in the States that could never afford to work on their dream, to work on their dream now. So there is a lot of, the world is really global now, and you should take advantage of it for both sides, for hiring and being hired. And what I said about before, I will repeat it here. If you don't want to have a nomadic lifestyle, start a business, because it's going to be more or less the same, the ups and downs and the uncertainty. So in a way, it's some kind of a substitute. Let's talk about how a nomadic lifestyle can help you increase your income. So the first advantage is that if you're more happy, you work better. You know, you go to swim in the Black Sea in the morning, and then you go to work, and then you have a more happy life, and you want to maintain it. You always say to yourself, wow, it's going to end if I'm not making enough money. I'm going to have to go back to this office that I hate so much. So this is good. Global business context, like we talked about before. Roderick, for example, my co-founder in Startup Link, is someone that I met through those platforms, and through traveling I met the other co-founder of Startup Link. So you meet a lot more people, you have a lot more options. First-hand knowledge about international markets. Now, for example, we started teaching Croatian in LingoLearn because I traveled in Croatia for a long time. So I wasn't afraid of, and it actually generates some nice revenue for us. I wasn't that afraid. If someone would tell me 4 years ago, hey, start a Croatian campus, I would say, well, where is Croatia on the map? I don't know. And now it's like, yeah, I can do a lot more things, and I can understand the context and hire teachers, and I know a little bit about the language, so it's kind of cool. Can get your costs down. We talked about this. If you go to countries that are not that expensive, you waste a little bit less, and then you can spend it on your business. So it's kind of nice. And you have a story to tell. Once again, that's what we talked about before. When you have a story to tell, people want to listen. Today, the most important thing for a freelancer or someone that has a business is to get attention. Because we're bombarded all over the place by noise, by people who are trying to get our attention. That's why Google ads and Facebook ads, they're making so much, those billions of dollars, because they have our attention. So in a way, you're getting a little bit of attention by having a story, which is helpful. Why being nomadic will not help you make money? So first of all, infrastructure, like internet. You know, you go to a new place, you don't know where there is internet, you don't know anything. In India, I think in India, Lingolearn was so moving forward so slow because my internet was only 1 hour a day, I remember this. So we had one client during 3 months in India because simply we couldn't really develop it that much. And you know, you keep on changing locations and it's a bit hard to know where is the internet and the desk and whatever. Change takes time that you can use working. Talked about this, you lose a lot of time. This time you could have worked for your clients or in your business. Lack of control if something happens. You know, if I have a problem now with a client in Israel or with the tax authorities in Israel or whatever, there is a problem. That's why I recommend, I'm going to talk about it later, to have a partner. But honestly, I recommend to have a partner whatever you do. It's one of the best lessons in life. If you start a business, have a partner, always. And clients and investors get a little bit suspicious, you know, because for example, if you have clients for a long time and now you're in Paraguay and later you're moving to Bulgaria and the time zone changes and every time they're like, what's going on? You're not in, so clients like stability. It's not a major issue now. I remember when I was in London, I was sleeping in a dorm, 14 people in the same room. And I met my clients and they had those suits, you know, because I did business plans for them. They were business people. They're like, Eddie, where are you staying? And I'm coming with a jumper and whatever. They're like, oh, we didn't imagine you like that. And told me I sleep in the dorm. And they're like, wow, that's weird. So, you know, there's a lot of ego in those games. And what I did, I opted out. I said, okay, I don't want to impress anyone. But it has a little bit of a cost in a way, but not that big of a cost. My final conclusion is actually that this nomadic lifestyle will do more damage to your financial situation than will help you. So if you're counting only the money benefits, becoming a nomad is not a good idea. Everything with hacking costs and everything, you're gonna get a hit on the revenue front and on the focus front. But there is more than money in life. So now let's talk about how to become a nomad, some practical steps. So before you start, what you have to do is you have to map your attachments and then say, are those attachments worth it? So everyone can, you know, all of you can make a list now and say, let's say I'm telling you all, guys, in 1 week from now, you're going to Bolivia. It's over, it's settled. This list will actually tell you why you can't do it. My list is empty. I don't have anything in the list. If someone is telling me, Eddie, next week you're going to Bolivia, I'll tell him, okay, buy me a ticket, I'm going to Bolivia. But the question is, what are your attachments? What is keeping you from doing it? Usually it's can you give an example of attachments?
Being a student.
Students, yeah. But this is a temporal attachment. That's good. Yeah? What
Family?
else? Family, of course. Kids, relationships, a pet, a home, and a car. Start working on revenue right now. Either do freelancing, do your startup, work on your skills. Don't go to Mexico and start getting jobs as a freelancer. It's not gonna, it takes a long time. So you're doing your daily job now, even if you don't want to do this nomadic lifestyle, want to have a business, start working on the thing right now. It simply improves your chances of success. You have some free hours now, you can use them to build your next dream, whatever it is. And find a reliable partner. You will need backup, needless to say. But you have to pick your partner really good. A partner in business is just like a partner in a relationship. It can be the best thing or the worst thing. So you have to be careful, but it's important to pick a partner. Some things about while being nomadic. You started, you packed, you go to another country that you don't know. Don't move too much, which means stay in a place enough time to get work-life balance, some routines, and work well. If you're going to switch every week, it's going to be too much. Establish important routines. I have a list of 50 things in each base. What I call every place I go to a base. I have a list of 50 things, and what I do in every base is killing the list and starting again. So this list helps me understand what I need to do. Find a swimming pool. Find a co-working place, find some friends, find a cheap restaurant or whatever. It's a huge list, and those are things that I learned on the time that I need those things. Co-working, you got the pitch before, I think, but for me it's really a lifesaver. I did co-working in I think 15 countries or almost 20 countries, and that's the first thing I look for. Actually, I don't go to a place currently for a long time. I go to places for 1 week. I've been in Veliko Tarnovo for 1 week and in Bansko for 1 week. But if I stay in a place, it has to have a co-working place. And this is something that I check because simply working from home doesn't work for me. I need this separation. You might as well, so this is something very personal. Befriending locals is important. Why? Because it's more fun to know local people, and also they have the same schedule like you. If you're going to start traveling and working on the same time, and your friends are tourists and they're going to tell you, hey, let's go to do, I don't know, walk on this mountain in the middle of the day, it's frustrating. So find people with the same work schedule like you. This is something that I understood after a long time, because in the beginning when I started I said, okay, I need to talk to tourists. That's the most easy thing for me to do. It makes sense. And now I understand that tourists are totally off the limit. I need to connect with locals. You're not a tourist, so change the tourist mindset. Tourists pay a lot of money wherever they go because they have no time. They need the perfect vacation in the 4 days they're being tourists because they're going to work for a year after. You're not a tourist. Local transportation, no taxis, finding those cheap non-touristic restaurants, all of this is something that you have to do from day one. If not, you're simply going to lose a lot of money and not being able to sustain this lifestyle. Separate weekends from weekdays, something that I do. Work on weekdays, go traveling, go to Rila Monastery or to wherever on the weekends. I've been in Rila and Sinemorets, and but the weekend trips, not during the week. India, not London. If you start, pick a place that is cheap. I went to London. This was one of the worst things I've done in my life. I was like, whoa, like no way I can stay. I was supposed to stay there for 4 months, and I stayed for 20 days and ran away like crazy to Croatia. So it's something that you should take into account. And take less risks. If you're traveling for so long, you remember I told you some bad stories that I have. If you travel for so long, some bad stuff are going to happen. So take less risks, and because you don't want that many things to slow you down. So I'm careful with my passport and stuff like that. I have some tips in the blogs about how to take a little bit less risks. Some resources that I recommend, and you probably know most of those. For accommodation, I currently use Hostelworld. For hostels, Booking.com is great. It wasn't that great, now it became really, really cheap and a great site. And Airbnb to stay with locals, pretty cool site. Social, you know, we talked about it. You're going to a place, you don't know anyone. Couchsurfing is a great site for meeting locals and tourists. And Meetup. You don't have a Meetup group in Varna, so if one of you wants to start, I'll be very happy. Usually in Sofia you have Meetup.com is a site where people are doing meetups, weekly meetups, and then you can extend your network, and it's pretty cool. In some countries, like in cities like Berlin, you have about 30 meetups, and you have a meetup every day, so you can just do lots of things. For work, I recommend elance.com and odes.com. Elance, there is a coupon that you can use. www.elance.com, join Eli, and this coupon will give you more jobs to apply for, because at some point in Elance you have to pay those guys to apply for jobs. This will give you about 10 more jobs to make it easier for you to get the first jobs. And let's do 3 final suggestions to complete this discussion. So things that we talked about before. The first one is if you want to do this nomadic lifestyle, wait for an opportunity and grab it. Okay? So basically, it's not, my motto here is not like I'm killing everything and I'm going for it. Maybe they will fire you and your relationship will break at the same time. What I'm saying is, when it happens, don't panic, then do it. Like, you don't have to do it forcefully, but life gives us opportunities all the time. Do what you like is really important, and I think it's a question all of you have to ask yourself. Do I do now something that I like doing? And if not, you know, what's the point if you don't do something that you like? With so many options out there. And the third is challenge the model, play a little bit more. So yes, 9 to 5, and yes, staying in the same place and going to university and all those things and getting married and kids, great. But there are some other options out there, crazy options, you know, not just nomadic lifestyle. There are millions more options of a lifestyle. So I would just play a little bit more if you can. So that's pretty much it. The conclusion here is difficult and complicated, but possible. My email, if any of you want to ask me questions. The blog is pretty cool for a lot more extension of all the things we talked about. And if you want, you can start a list now of, I'm going to send you the ebook of all the topics we covered here. So if you want to start a list and write some emails, I'm going to send it to you. And then maybe if I do another lecture in Varna about another topic, I'll let you know. And that's basically it. Thank you for coming.